Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. It's 15 minutes to go before we get the inflation report, and I'm all in. I, as always, put my money where my mouth is. I do what I say, and I say what I do. After studying and spending a lot of hours last night researching the S&P, I believe that the S&P could triple 3x by 2030. Think about that for a moment. We're in 24 now. That's 6 years. Typically, the S&P doubles every 7 years. I am believing and expecting potentially that the S&P could triple in the next 6 years. Pretty impressive numbers. So I put my money where my mouth is. I believe, and I have said since September, I have said for 18 months, the summer of 2024, we would get rate cuts. I believe it. I believe it's coming in September. Now people are finally catching up with me and thinking I might be right on this. So this morning, to do what I say and say what I do, I have just bought another 20 shares of VU. That's the way I buy the S&P. Let me share with you exactly. That's about $10,000 of margin added to my margin position. So let's have a look here. We're going to get volatility before, but I don't want to miss out if I'm right. And I think I'm right. We'll find out in a few moments live. If you scroll down here, I might just need to refresh this screen. This is VU. This is how I access the S&P. Of course, you buy the S&P through an ETF. You can't buy it directly. And you'll see, look, I've just bought my biggest ever single purchase of VU. 20 shares, 10,307. 10,307, 20 shares. Just a few moments ago, it's just dipped slightly since then. That doesn't concern me. There's going to become volatility until we get the news. But the closer we get to the news, the more likely it's then going to bounce up. Now, of course, it doesn't matter to me if it goes down further. I'm buying it for a long-term position. I'm buying it to hold it forever. I'm not looking to sell my S&P ever until I need to retire and take profits. I want to live on the dividends. I want to get to $1,000 a month dividend payments. That's what I'm aiming for. So the only way you're going to do that is by buying more of the S&P. So if I look at my overall portfolio, remember I started with $5,000. We are now at a grand total of $105,000. We've just hit another all-time record. Now, if I am right, and in the next 6 years, this triples, it's over $300,000, over $350,000. Am I right? Well, we'll find out in about 11 minutes' time. It will go down before then, but I didn't buy it to try and catch the bottom. I'm not trying to time the market. I want to be in because I believe on my research, I believe in my numbers, and I want to do it before everybody else gets the confirmation. I have already made my decision. Let's look here at the buying power. You can see my buying power has now reduced to 90,000. Margin total, I can spend 120,000 on margin, and I've spent 30. So if you look at my risk, very, very low risk, as you can see there. I've got a 65% buffer, $51,000 buffer. If I view the details, you will see the details there. As you can see, 51,000 buffer. It's a long, long way to go before I would get a margin call. That's not going to happen. The markets would have to crash by an enormous amount, which there's no way that's going to happen. So you can see at the moment I'm paying, got to hold it there, $3.33. That will go up tomorrow to about $5 a day in interest. But of course, part of the calculation is interest rates will come down, and the idea is I could end up buying another $10,000, another 20 shares of the S&P, and the interest pretty much come back to where it is. That's what I want. I want it to come near that $3.30 a day And that's worked out very well for me, because if we look over the last month, as you can see, I have spent somewhere in the region of about $150 on margin, because it's $3 a day thereabouts. And as you can see, I've made $5,000, $4,883 to be precise. So obviously, using margin for me is working right now because the markets are going up. Obviously, it wouldn't be so good if it was going down. So there you go. There is my S&P. There's my prediction for the rate cuts. This is what's going to happen. This is going to go out as its own video shortly. We've got 8 minutes to go. Let's now look at the numbers. Here it is. Here is inflation. You're looking at now inflation. 0.2. Forecast 0.2, that's what we want. 3.4, it doesn't have to be 0.1, just has to be on target. No surprises. Core inflation 3.4, 3.4, 3.4. If we get 3.3, amazing. 3.4 is fine as well. Just don't want to see it go up. Inflation rate month on month, previous 0. 0.1, 0.1, again, the same. Doesn't have to be down. Inflation year on year, this is the one, 3.3%. It's our current inflation, expecting 3.1. We're pricing in 3.1. We don't want above 3.3. I'm okay if it's 3.2. I'm even okay with 3.3, the same. I just don't want to see it go up, all right? That's my bet, if you like, on the economy. So there you go. Will I be right in a few minutes' time? We've got just a few minutes to go to find out, was I right? 30,000 now in margin. I've gone all in. I've bought another 20 shares of the S&P. Now, you could say, why did you not buy a week ago, a month ago? It was lower. I did. I've been buying for a year. I've been in the S&P, well, not a year now, I've been in since January. So I've got a lot of shares, a lot lower. So you could have said, well, why didn't you buy on margin when it was, a lot lower, sort of 17% lower at the beginning of the year? Well, I did buy, but you can't just buy forever. I've now calculated what I can pay off over a certain period of time, and that's okay. But of course, I would have paid that interest on that time as well. So yes, overall, I probably would have got it cheaper, but we can go on forever going, well, why don't you just buy your lifetime amount of the S&P, now, and then never buy it again as it goes up in price? Well, you'll be paying back margin for the next 20 years. It's not really, you can't really calculate that out. So it's not probably the best way to live. Anyway, there's my position. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments below. Going to find out in 6 minutes. Click above my head, down below in the description, over here and over here for further information. Was I right? We'll know in just a few minutes from now. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.